Jen, you sent it? Okay. Is it on, what, if it's on Google, then just share it with me. Okay, guys, so we're going to get started in about 5 minutes here, but we're going to get things set up a little bit beforehand. We will be going in order of groups, as you'll know. Part of this, too, what I'm going to have you do a few things. And is this? Ask about, so standing on stage, and you do have a microphone to speak into, so remember this. Yeah, okay, I just realized I have us on mute, but after each presentation, Vincent will come on, and possibly some others at Aspire, and ask you all a few questions. For those who, during the presentations, I see a lot of laptops out, and that's fine for right now, but I want laptops put away during the presentations. Let's minimize the phones. I want your smiling faces looking up at your fellow students, so that there's some eye contact there, especially since you're not going to be seeing anyone from Vincent's side. But know that Aspire is out there, and this is going to be recorded as well. The other piece is that I'm going to hand out these lovely sheets here. What they have is the students that are going today for the presentation. We have their names listed, and this is to provide some feedback. I'll be handing back this feedback either on Thursday to those that go today, or at the final for those who go later. This is to provide some feedback in terms of what you think went well, what you think that they can improve on. So just another angle of feedback. So keep it constructive or positive, always a good thing. Feel free to write your own message to yourself if you're going today. A little self-affirmation and all that good stuff. Just keep it professional, okay? Keep it appropriate, in other words. And this is going to be, again, handed back to you all. Is there any questions at this time? All right, so we're about to get started. There's 2 microphones up here and the clicker as well. Sorry. Yeah, it's all set up. Right. It's, yes, I'm presuming it's preloaded into your presentation. Okay, great. All right, so yes, all video, audio, you'll hear Vincent from Voice from Above come through as well, so that will be fun. The only other thing I want to request is, again, everyone move forward, and all these spots here in the front, I want you guys to no further back than the 3rd row, okay? So everyone move forward here. Okay, so we'll have the first group who is presenting. First group, if you guys can come up.
Do you want us to pull it up, or do you have
No,
it?
I have it. Yeah. So do you, I don't know, a couple of you guys can go to the other side.
Oh, we can use the other side. Okay.
Yeah, so there's 2 microphones here.
I'll go to the other side.
So where should,
You're going
because you're gonna hand it off to me.
yeah, so then do you want to go next?
I'll
time?
stay here. Dave is handing it off.
I give it to you, Maddie. You can just come down here.
And then I'll
Does
just
that
hand
work?
it. Yeah, then we'll just pass it down here.
I think there's stage lights.
Yeah, definitely. And then
Definitely stage lights. Question in the second row.
Not for you yet.
Okay, so guys, I'm turning, yeah.
For the group, you have Liam Boyle as in our group and it's John.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
So everyone knows, I guess.
Yeah, I really apologize.
No, that's fine. I
Did
just
a little
wanted to
cut and
let everyone know.
paste. So if everyone can please change that right now. Let me just. Okay, we're gonna wait a minute.
Right here is definitely like,
So this is.
that was loud. Yeah, like,
We're gonna have to, for our video, when we click on it to play, it automatically opens up a tab in Chrome for YouTube. So are we gonna be able to like do that and exit out with this still open?
This is recording separately.
Okay,
So it's going to be recording.
so that'll be in the background anyway. Like the,
No, you're not going to be seeing us. I'm going to minimize it. You're
Okay,
not gonna be
okay.
seeing yourself.
Okay.
No, that would be.
I wasn't sure if we
probably
had to like leave that up and.
No. Okay, I'm just waiting for Vincent to get on. The microphones are live, just so you know. He hasn't joined yet, but they are live. Okay, guys, we're just waiting for Vincent to get online. So this is. This is what it'll look like.
Okay.
And I don't know, put this on the screen. when he
Should we
gets on.
just use the clicker?
Want to double. Okay. Let me get prepared. Sorry, guys.
So I have
aim this towards here. I aim this towards like the computer.
Yeah. That's for the computer. We're just waiting for Vincent to get online.
walk this side.
Do you want to keep the clicker the entire time? And then,
Because you're closing it.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll have a clicker.
No, it's well, I'm going as fast as I can. If you don't have
A, B, C. Right there is the move. Right there.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Yeah. Just 1 minute. I'll text you. Okay. We're having some problems on the other side or our side. Yeah, they're saying that they can't connect. Maybe I just didn't start it up.
The meeting's active, so they should just, if we could, before we could do this, do you have their email address?
Yeah.
And you have your Gmail open right now?
Don't know. Oh, that's what I sent them.
Okay.
They should have it all. They said it just said it was gonna start in a little bit. Should we try to exit and then get back on?
mine do too. Right, because it's the same recurring meeting. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yay.
I am in now.
Yay. Okay, great. All right, we're gonna get this pulled up in 1 second and start. So, great. All right, so we are getting started with this presentation. They're able to see you all, not the audience, but you all up here, and the screen. So we're gonna be turning this on, and we'll let the first group go, and start when I hit. So thank you guys for waiting, and thank you, Aspire, for patience too.
Okay, so hi, I'm Zoe Bledsoe. This is Maddie Savner, Dave Yingling, Megan Stelter, and Madison Silvestri, and our presentation will be about escaping the ordinary. So before we begin, we're going to show you a quick video about Tough Mudder, which is a 10 to 12 mile obstacle course and run, and some sponsorship opportunities they have, and which we think Akeda will work best with. So this will help Akeda because it is a large-scale operation, and it will also help provide product sampling and will help raise brand awareness to over 1 million people in just 1 year. So a little overview of our presentation. We'll be talking about 3 main points. First, our background information, which will consist of a SWOT analysis of Akeda. We'll be talking about its competitors and their marketing opportunity. We'll also be telling you what target market we chose and which will be most profitable for the company and the marketing strategy that goes with it.
Thank you for that introduction, Zoe. So I'm going to dive right into our SWOT analysis as Akeda stands as a company right now. So SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and starting right off the bat with efficiency and sustainability. So companies nowadays, consumers are more focused on what companies are doing behind the scenes. And Akeda strives in this, and one of the big conversations for sustainability of livestock and farming and agriculture, in that battle for sustaining agriculture, Akeda actually has a very strong stance because they are very efficient. Cricket farms are smaller than meat farms, need less resources, and overall are just more sustainable than typical meat operations. Jumping into nutrients and ingredients, the ingredients and nutrients that Akeda carries in their products are just as well, or if not better than anything else that's in our market. So that is definitely a strength we can capitalize on as marketers. And convenience, you can eat these products pretty much anywhere. So that's definitely a huge strength for us to build on as a company. For weaknesses, so culture barriers, there's a lot of negative stigmas around the whole eating insects in America and crickets specifically for this strategy. And that's not something that it's something that we can build past on as a company, and it's something that we can turn into a positive because other cultures do eat insects, so that is, it does happen. So it is something that we can educate the consumer, and that's possibly a trend that can change over time. So building up on weaknesses, availability too, just with not being available on Amazon right now. Amazon's the largest retailer when it comes to e-commerce in the United States. So that's just hurting us a little bit. And price sensitivity, meaning just for your typical working class family and your millennial, might not be the most affordable option. But once again, these are all things that we can build past as marketers. So for opportunities, the market's wide open. It's a new market, so not a lot of, we do have some competitors, but we do have the opportunity to seize a majority of the market because it is such a young market. For micronutrients are little vitamins that necessarily, it's not like your vitamin C and your vitamin D. It's like the smaller type nutrients that you get from certain products. And crickets carry a lot of these products. So this is something that definitely we can market to explore to the consumer, that things like iron can't exactly get from a lot of things. You can get from insects. And then just one more threat, allergies with any food company, that is an issue. Shellfish allergies and insect allergies are a concern, but we can build past that. And improper harvesting of crickets, just like meat companies, things can go wrong in the manufacturing process, which can result in people getting sick. So that's just an important highlight on to necessarily keep up on when it comes to safety and everything. But it's the same stuff that the meat industry experiences, so it's not really too major of a cause. So that was our SWOT analysis breakdown of Akeda as a company.
Okay, now I'm going to talk about some of Akeda's competitors. Akeda's main competitor is All Things Bugs. All Things Bugs focuses on an RUTF, or ready-to-use therapeutic food. They use their cricket powder in this sense to combat malnutrition in other countries. This makes them a leader in innovation for insect-based food industry, and they are the largest supplier of high-quality insect food ingredients. And another competitor of Akeda is Exoprotein. Exoprotein focuses their products on granola bars with pronounceable and real food ingredients. A granola bar is more attainable for a consumer to start eating cricket products since they use cricket powder in the granola bars. It's less intense for the consumer than opening up a bag of crickets and seeing the full cricket in the bag. Exoprotein's slogan is "Strange equals change." This really promotes that although the norm in the United States is not, as of now, eating crickets and other insects, Exoprotein promotes that if something is strange, it not only is a good change for you and your diet, but could be eventually for the world and the environment around you as well. And Akeda can really thrive in the market opportunities of nutritional quotient of edible insects to other products. An example I found that I thought was really interesting is in about 100 grams of milk, the main takeaway that you and your body get from that is a lot of fat. Whereas in 100 grams of crickets, not only do you get the healthier fat that your body needs, but you get a lot of protein too. So the crickets, for the same serving size as milk, for example, it's promoting for your body a higher but a healthier intake of calories for you. Consumers are also, they're concerned with the demand for a less processed product. Akeda really sets itself apart in the fact that all of its its processing is all automated. Consumers don't like when their products are being touched by a lot of different human hands before being on their plate and into their mouths. So again, Akeda really sets itself apart because it's all automated, and the one time that Akeda's products are being touched by human hands is when the product is already packaged. And finally, online purchasing. I know that right now Aketa is off of Amazon because they're rebranding, but once Aketa gets back on Amazon and they continue to sell their products through their own website, e-commerce is thriving and it's huge in today's society. So the online purchasing is a great way for Aketa to get their products into the hands of consumers. And now I'm going to pass it off to Megan. She's going to tell you about our target market.
So for our target market, we decided to go after millennials, so males and females between the ages of about early 20s to later 30s. These people are full-time workers, so they work a 9 to 5, and they have a fitness hobby. So fitness is definitely important to them, but it's not their top priority in their life. These people are also adventurous. They're willing to try new things, and they're always looking for new achievements and obstacles to overcome. So I'm going to take you into the marketing strategy. You may be wondering why we showed a video about the Tough Mudder, and I'm going to get into that just a little bit. So Tough Mudder is a well-known race, and it's continuing to become more popular. We think that Aketa could really benefit from pairing up with Tough Mudder because they have a sponsorship program, and with that, you also are included with the 1.4 million visitors to the Tough Mudder website, and as a sponsor, your brand is listed on the website. There's 1.4 million email subscribers who constantly are getting updates. Over 5.8 million social media followers, so that's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those. There's over 125 million video views on just Facebook and YouTube about the Tough Mudder, and at the Tough Mudder events, they live stream everything that's going on, and each live stream, on average, has about 750,000 followers. So at the actual event, there's about 60 events that are held throughout the year by Tough Mudder. And at these events, Aketa can actually be present and be there. So the first opportunity that we thought was really beneficial is that Tough Mudder offers an on-site chef. So if you're a sponsor, you can provide a recipe, and the on-site chef will cook up samples using your product, and all of the runners, as well as their families and supporters who came, will be able to try that product. And there's also stations for vendors, so you can set up a table or a tent and sample out products that way. At the end of the race, the participants will walk around with their families and friends, and this is where Aketa can really talk about their product and get the buzz going and get the name of Aketa out and have people more willing to try it. And with this, we wanted a way to step above Tough Mudder and not just be partnered with them. So we decided that a social media campaign could really help that. And I'm going to pass it over to Madison, and she's going to tell you guys a little bit more about that campaign.
Thank you, Megan. So we feel really strongly in the power of our social media campaign. We'll have a vendor tent that'll be located in the Mudder Village, which is at the end of the race where all of the racers and their supporters, families, friends will get to go to and walk through tents, go to different vendors, check out what is going on. And we'll have cricket samples, flavored crickets, where they'll be able to try a variety of different flavors and see what works best for their palate. And then what they would do with that sample is then they would then take a photo with their sample and post it on any social media. It could be Instagram, Twitter, or Snapchat, and use the hashtag Aspire to be different. And we felt that Aspire to be different would be a strong hashtag to use for this campaign, because by partaking in the Tough Mudder, these millennials are doing a different activity. They're not just doing an average race. They're doing something that's unique and they can be proud of. So we figured that eating crickets is obviously a different experience, one that's not necessarily involved in our society as much. So it pairs well with the Tough Mudder. And so the hashtag, when posted online and showed to our vending table, they'll be supplied with a coupon that will allow for a free sample size of our cricket granola when they purchase a cricket, actual cricket product. So that'll entice them to go and purchase the crickets after they sampled them and they like them, and then they'd also get a sample of the granola with it as well. And then this would lead to repurchasing, so that also would benefit Aketa with getting the actual business. And then as far as wrapping up our overall presentation. Our purpose. Our purpose. Thank you. Okay, so our purpose of our campaign is targeting the adventurous millennial that is going to be health conscious, working a 9-to-5 job. We're not trying to target that like gym rat constantly into fitness. We're just targeting the average person that likes to be physically active. And this is also a good group for us to be targeting because it's a group that's always aspiring to achieve new goals, especially in health and fitness. That's important in our society today. So we would be targeting them to be trying out our product, and then hopefully that will bring exposure on social media, and they'll like it, and then lead to repurchasing, spreading the word, and leading to purchasing from their friends and families as well. And there's also a demand for nutritional, less processed foods in our market, and that's a great opportunity for Akeda. And also the Tough Mudder brings a large-scale exposure to the Akeda name. As we saw in the video previously in the beginning of the presentation, that the name would be posted on vending tables all across the course. There would be a lot of exposure, and it would also get viewed in the live stream. And there's also over 1 million monthly website viewers, as Megan stated previously, which is a lot of people, and if they can spread the word, it just continues to grow. And 750,000 average live stream views per event. And lastly, the on-site chefs can use recipes such as everyday recipes. There's tacos, pancakes, different recipes that one wouldn't think to incorporate with crickets, and it could actually be nutritional and beneficial. And the free samples will also grab the interest and allow them to repurchase, knowing that they'll be getting a free sample of granola with the purchase as well. So this is our campaign, and we strongly believe that pairing with the Tough Mudder and the adventure lifestyle is a great target for the millennial. And social media campaign will just grow the exposure even more through every social media outlet and continue to bring in more buyers. Okay.
I have a couple questions right off the bat. The first one is, a lot of the presentation was about Tough Mudder. And we have done, not necessarily sponsored a race or something like that, but we've gone to, let's say, the CrossFit Games, where we were a sponsor and we had a booth there and we gave out product there. But there is a lot of competition from the standpoint of other brands and what they're doing. So did you guys have any creative ideas or particular examples of how we can stand out amongst all of the other people that are sponsoring? At CrossFit and other events that we've sponsored, there's been hundreds of sponsors.
So what we noticed was that some of the vendors will have activities going on, and when you're at an event like a Tough Mudder, people they want to have fun, but they also want to try all new things. So if Akeda were to incorporate, whether it was a wheel that they can spin or some form of a game that will keep them active and also have them trying your product, I think that will entice more people to come to your table and try your product and learn about it, because it is so different. So it's just grabbing that attention. And then once it's grabbed, I think that a lot of consumers would be very interested.
Got it. Okay. One comment I had is I thought the SWOT analysis was very accurate. So you guys did good with that. Going back to the Tough Mudder, did you put on there anywhere what the cost was to be a sponsor, or the breakdown of that?
So the cost for that, you would have to actually contact Tough Mudder and email them. So we didn't want to do that on your behalf, so we couldn't get the actual budget breakdown of it. But right on their website, they have a page that gives you information on how to contact them and get that further information.
Okay, got it. And then on your market opportunity slide, you had a chart for the U.S. edible insects market size and how it was growing over the course of the next couple of years. Do you have an attribution for where you found that graph? I hadn't seen it before, and I was definitely interested in using that in the future, if you have an attribution.
Absolutely. It was actually from a LinkedIn page of somebody who is like a head of like the insect food industry, of insect food side of the industry. I do have the link if I'm sure there's a way.
Yeah, we'll send you that, the presentations with the resources. So we'll get that to you.
Okay, cool. And then my last question was, you mentioned social media, and a couple of different groups have mentioned social media. And I know you put that hashtag in there, aspire to be different. But focusing on the Aketa brand, were there any specific social media examples that you guys could give that you think would be particularly effective?
I think that Facebook would be extremely effective because they do that live streaming on Facebook. So being able to see that, see all the videos that are posted on Facebook from Tough Mudder, I think by using the hashtag on Facebook will definitely be the most beneficial.
Oh, well, as far as the brand itself, just by retweeting or reposting the hashtag, I know on Instagram, like, it's very popular to, like, repost from people's posts, and especially on Twitter as well. So I think really just, like, teaming up and everyone just getting the retweets, the more exposure, the better. I think that could link it to the Aketa and retweeting it onto their social media accounts and just continuing to spread the word from the consumers directly, the individuals that are trying the product, and it's a direct source.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's all we have on our end. Yep, I think that's it.
Thank you.
Okay, and we will have a bit more Q&A at the end, so thank you guys. All right, so group 2.
Mic is working now.
No, they're both working.
Just make sure that our presentation has a video on the screen.
You guys email to me? Or
I
do
put
you-
on Pipework.
No.
Presentation, one of them being the identification of how kids can grow, and the second being how's my transitioning from this, and now Chris is going to go into depth about the world, even when you transition from it.
Okay. Yeah, I have it.
Freaking out, deep breaths. We know what we're doing.
There it is.
Sorry about that, guys.
You're freaking me out.
Your name on the back too. Could we check that before we put it up on the screen?
What do you need?
We just wanted to check our one video slide.
Our one slide.
Could we
Just press escape probably.
Is that it?
keep going a little bit further? It's in the next one.
Yeah, okay, it's there, we're good. Yep.
Okay, it'll play. Okay. We just wanted to.
you everyone for thank you for our patience here. So we'll get started with the next group in one moment.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're ABCJ Incorporated. I'm Ashley DeLuca.
I'm Chris Irving.
I'm Brooklyn Aquilino.
And I'm Jonathan Servi.
So the real question is, what exactly makes a marketing strategy effective? Before we get started, I want to identify 3 major concepts that you should take away from this presentation. One of them being the identification of where Acadia can improve and grow upon. The second being the target market that capitalizes the opportunities that Acadia has to offer. And lastly, the 3-step marketing strategy that our team has come up with to capture our target market.
Okay, so here's the problem. Education and transitioning. So 15% more than iron and starch. This is about the crickets. 2% more protein than beef, and as much vitamin B12 as salmon. So a lot of people don't know that crickets have this much nutrients in them, and their lack of education doesn't enable them to try it. Also, for the transitioning, not many people are willing to transition from their meat diet or their vegetarian diet to go eat crickets. If someone's eating meat twice a day, they're not likely to switch out the meat from to crickets. So the opportunity in the market. Right now, the market is very up and coming in sustainable foods and organic foods. And as you can see here, crickets are more sustainable than pork, chicken, and beef. And since 2012, there has been 6 more cricket farms that have started up. And here's the competitive landscape. So it's Mom's Organic Market and Tomo Farms and Chapel. These 3 companies all sell cricket-based foods and protein powders and just crickets themselves. These companies are more focused on the nutrients within the crickets and not entirely the sustainability part, which is where we're looking to go. And so here's Brooklyn with the target market.
We decided we wanted to target millennials, but considering that there are 79 million millennials in our population, that would be a very large target market. So we decided to do further research, and we found that in 2012, there was a study that proved that there are 6 different groups of millennials, and the largest one is Hispanials, which take up 29% of the millennial population. I'm sorry. So the good thing about Hispanials is they are sustainable and information hungry millennials that are looking to make the world a better place, and they believe that they are in charge of the environment. So 60% of millennials are all on social media and put their experiences on social media. So Hispanials are pretty much more of the social media friendly, social media advanced people, and we believe that they can target towards other millennials through their experiences with the crickets. They're open to trying new things and open to doing things that are going to be better for our environment. So considering that Hispanials believe that they could change the world, they want their voice to be heard, they want more companies to be sustainable. So we figured that because Acadia is already a sustainable company, that we can easily drag them in and target them as, emphasize that Acadia is sustainable, and they will be able to. They will be able to promote the crickets to other companies and show that we're sustainable and we're doing better for the world, and we're trying to have healthier communities and make things better. So now I'm going to pass our market strategy over to Ashley.
Thank you, Brooklyn. So ABCJ has come up with 3 marketing strategies, one of them being store penetration, the second being a social media campaign, and lastly being repackaging of the products. So when we're talking about store penetration, we believe Akeda needs to get their foot in the door with a store and get their products selling in stores instead of online. And we believe that Whole Foods can do that for them, considering they're already, well, they were on Amazon and they currently took their products off of Amazon, that they can easily get that connection with Whole Foods. And a lot of the consumers within Whole Foods are looking for that sustainability aspect, and Akeda can offer that. Whole Foods sells natural and organic foods, and they're very committed to the sustainable agriculture. Their target market are men and women of ages 22 to 40 who care about sustainability of the earth and care about natural products. They have 460 stores located throughout the United States, Canada, and the UK. They also, in 2016, their net sales were $15.7 billion. And as many of you know, Amazon recently just bought Whole Foods for $13.6 billion. So for that reason, we believe that Akeda can get their foot in the door in a store, especially something like Whole Foods, because they have a lot of people who are committed to the environment and a lot of people that are committed to sustainability, and Akeda can offer that. Now, since we thought store penetration would be a great aspect and a great marketing strategy for Akeda, we went into the local Whole Foods in Wynwood and talked to the store leader, Allison, and we told her about our project and we gave her a little education behind the product, and she couldn't stop emphasizing how sustainable she thought Akeda was, and she thought it was perfectly in line with what her consumers want and what they need. Not only that, we also took a look at the product placement of where we'd want to place the product throughout Whole Foods. On the left, there's a picture of a bunch of shelves along the aisles, and that's where they place their healthy snack options such as flax seeds, nuts, granola, and now Akeda offers products such as granola, crickets, protein powder, flour. So obviously you would put maybe the granola and get that consumer to see that product on the shelf and maybe consider it, because I know that the first time that I heard about the crickets, I had that automatic ick factor, because it's not necessarily a norm in America's world today. It's more of a norm in different countries. And on the left, we have on the right, we have a picture, and it's of maybe a pop-up display or even a taste testing. So the Whole Foods has a lot of customers that reoccur and they come back because they love what Whole Foods has to offer. And when they have great products to offer, maybe they can taste test Akeda's products and get the consumer the first time, they might have that ick factor. Because personally, from a consumer's insight, I had that ick factor. But the second time I saw it, I was willing to try the granola. And that third time, I was willing to go all in and try the cricket. So maybe the consumer, the more they see it and the more they keep returning, they will like the product and they will really be intrigued on what it really has to offer. Now I'm going to pass it off to John, and he's going to finish our other 2 strategies.
Thank you, Ashley. So the second step of our marketing strategy is going to talk about a social media campaign. We decided to do a social media campaign because, like Brooke previously mentioned, the Hispanic market that we're targeting, they are the greatest users of social media. So we thought it best to use social media as our medium to get our message across, rather than some more traditional routes like TV or radio. So we're gonna play we actually created our very own mock advertisement for you. This is something, it's like a 30-second advertisement that could pop up on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, things of that nature. So we're gonna show that and we'll talk about it in a second.
Hey, quick question. Where would you prefer your food to come from? That? Or this? Go wild with Akeda Crickets, a more sustainable snack option. Join the movement today at your local Whole Foods or at Amazon.com.
Okay, so to talk about the creative vision of that advertisement that we created, we wanted to be very intentional about every aspect of this commercial, starting with how we started with a question, and that question kind of set an informal tone. We thought just some simple text would really catch our target market's eye. And then we wanted to emphasize you. like Brooke mentioned again, with our target market, they are going to be the ones who want to make a difference with the choices that they make. And we decided to put that in the commercial, actually giving them the choice what products they would rather have. And then we wanted to our vision was to create that whole factory versus nature, whereas other products, although not like explicitly stated, would be made in factories with that sound of that machinery and those sterile pictures, versus the Acadia crickets, where you could actually hear the cricket sound, you hear the fire crackling, and you see a beautiful nature scene. And basically what that's pushing is our final point of sustainability. When we talked to Allison at Whole Foods, that was the big thing, was sustainable. And this is what is gonna get our target market to buy these products. And then our slogan for the social media campaign, which was a logo that we created here, Go Wild. And what we wanted to do with Go Wild was it's almost like a play on words, where it's something new, try something a little different, go out of your comfort zone, which our target market is willing to do, and also go wild in the sense of it's sustainable, it's more natural. Finally, our third part of our marketing strategy is a new packaging design. So before we go into that, I wanted to talk about the current packaging design of the whole roasted crickets. You can see them here on the left. This is the current design. What this is looking at is, while it's a great design in the sense of it's black, so it's gonna catch the user's eye, it's sleek, it's elegant, it's high end. This wasn't really what we were going for. We wanted to go more sustainable. So we went ahead and created our own kind of mock-up design, which you can see here on the right. And we thought the goal here was to go more natural. So what we were thinking at logistically here is that this would be similar like a burlap sack or something of that nature on the outside. And we wanted it to be potentially recyclable or from recycled materials. It could be compostable. And the logo would be printed simply on black right in the front. And the reason behind this, we found some studies, and basically we found these articles about how, like I previously said, what Acadia was going for was that high-end look with the black. Well, we want to move more to the sustainable aspect. And how we're going to do that is on all fronts. So we can't just preach sustainability in the product alone. It also has to be in the packaging. And so with that packaging, we could have it recyclable, decompostable, like I said, and then that's on the outside. Obviously, we need to keep the crickets fresh. So there would also be a recyclable package, like a clear, almost like Ziploc type material on the inside, which could then keep the crickets protected and fresh. So that's why we kind of thought a new packaging design would go hand in hand with that. So in conclusion, the big question is why us? Why would you choose us and our marketing strategy? Well, we have kind of like 3 key points for you why we believe that we have the best idea out there. The first is we understand the problem. You heard from Chris. Chris talked about the issues that Acadia is currently facing and where they can capitalize on those issues with the lack of education and with the ick factor kind of. Moving into our second point, we identified a huge untouched market that almost answers those questions. Our Hispanic target market, they're looking for that information. And on top of that, they're seeking information and they're willing to try new things and they want to make sustainable choices. So that's why we came up with our third point, which is our marketing strategy. It's that 3-step strategy that's going to get the product to them. It's going to give them also a brand that they trust in Whole Foods with partnering with them, and it's going to be sustainable on all levels with that new packaging design, which is going to capture that target market, which will turn into more sales for Acadia. So with that, we want to thank you and open the floor to any questions.
Thank you, guys. That was great. Yeah, a question I had right off the bat was you discussed the different types of millennials and how that's broken out into 6 components. Do you have the attribution for where you found that information? And what were some of the other types? I like the phrase hippennials.
Can you please? So we actually found that information on brandmillennial.com. There is so much information on the Safari that pretty much a bunch of different websites actually talk about the hippennials, but the one that we used was the brandmillennial.com. And the other 5 were millennial moms, anti-millennial, gadget guru, clean and green millennials, and old school millennials.
But the hip millennials were the ones that were like the most interested in sustainability and trying something new and getting themselves out there and changing the environment.
And going off of that, this was through our research, and we could even send it to you in a potential email or something like that with the actual source. But this was based on it was tough to find different types of segments, but this was one study that actually segmented them, and I believe the title of the actual study was Finally a Market Segment for the Millennial Market. So it's like this new and up-and-coming thing, so this is like the first one that we found.
Yeah, it looks awesome because people are always talking about how you need to market to millennials. I think seeing it broken out in finer detail would be great, especially since we're trying to target the millennials that are a little older because they have more money, more disposable income to spend on products like these. So yeah, I would love more information on this. And then I had a comment. The whole Whole Foods concept, we're actually targeting Whole Foods and have had a couple different discussions with them. But we are waiting to get a certification from the FDA before we're actually allowed into Whole Foods. So that might take up to a year, maybe even more. So although Whole Foods is the ideal place to launch for us, it's going to take a little time.
Yeah, we definitely figured that would take a little time, but I actually didn't know that you were even looking to invest and become business partners with Whole Foods. So that's actually just great to hear that we kind of have the same idea, and we would like to see the product in stores.
Yeah, and then I think a beer from our team had a question.
Okay.
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Awesome, cool. So my question was basically with regards to the retail strategy. So it's interesting because you yourself alluded at one point to the fact that you had this sort of kind of initial apprehension with regards to the product, the ick factor as you call it. And naturally in the earlier days of any product where there isn't necessarily a widespread market adoption just yet, it's easier, if your market is very dispersed, it's easier to target them through a medium that can reach a dispersed market rather than a retail medium, which is kind of, to an extent, a bit of a localized kind of market where people around the store would be the people who are familiar with that. And if the market is dispersed enough such that, like a very small percentage of the United States market is interested in crickets, for example, then from the perspective of a retailer like Whole Foods, if there is insufficient traction for that product in their region around the store, then it doesn't necessarily make sense to give up shelf space for that. And because of that, sometimes the option of going through e-commerce can be more beneficial just because of the fact that you can kind of reach anyone with no cost because there's no, brick and mortar location. Yeah. But then on top of that, I guess where the question comes up is that not only, in addition to that idea, there's the fact that through e-commerce you get this opportunity to educate a consumer, and because of the product requiring a certain amount of education, you have this opportunity to present videos or infographics and all this information, have people read a story. They can kind of go through this education process if they are interacting with the brand online. But since that is somewhat necessary for the adoption for the consumer, if you were to go down the retail route, considering you can't, have commercials and videos and giant posters as easily in a retail location, what would be the strategy you'd use to educate a consumer who's walking by and seeing the product for the first time, who needs to understand the value proposition of the product?
I know myself, if I were to walk through, I know a lot of places have samples, places like Sam's Club or something, and there was something more new, and I saw it, and I was like, I would definitely go up to the stand first, but I would definitely have someone there that can educate them and explain the product to them and why it's important to the millennials and the hippennials, especially the ones that we want to market to. Even a poster, or I see what you're saying about the social media campaign, and that's kind of why we tied in another strategy with ours, because we believe that through social media, you can educate them. And we talked about the problem being that people don't have the education behind the crickets and why they are sustainable and why they should transition into eating them, because it isn't technically normal for us, and we're not used to that. But I think the education and being able to see them repeatedly in a store with someone standing there with, say, in little cups, showing them the crickets, or giving them different, showing opportunities that you can make with the products into different meals, or the granola, how you can put it in your yogurt, or you can do whatever you want with it. And I think someone standing behind them, behind the counter with the testing, can really educate the consumer and get a one-on-one talk with someone from the company or someone who knows exactly what's going on throughout the company.
And also with the, I was looking at your website, and some of the information on that website is like beautifully designed and integrated in informing the consumer. And in our presentation with the Whole Foods segment, we were talking about, we showed that picture of potentially doing a pop-up display at the end of an aisle or something. And one thing that you could do there is to take that information and the design, the graphics, to show how there's more protein in it and the nutritional facts behind it of how it could be better than some other snack options, and literally just put that on the pop-up display, basically how it looks on the website, because it's beautifully designed there. Our concern was that not a lot of people know Akeda's name currently, and so they're not going to necessarily go to the website, whereas if it's actually in the store, it could be, people will look at that. You know, people are coming in and out of Whole Foods or other retail stores. But the information that you have on the website is great. It's just almost transitioning that to potentially like a pop-up display.
Cool. So basically, you're saying that on the one hand, you can kind of provide the information that's available on the website to the consumer directly by using a display, but at the same time, just by virtue of the fact that a customer would frequently encounter the product, I guess the frequency of exposure would lead to its becoming normalized in their subconscious, so to speak.
Yes, exactly.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll get started with the next group here. Be a quicker transition, I promise.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not as scary up here as I thought. Unfortunately, okay, so unfortunately, it will be one moment here. I had the wrong presentation.
Just follow.
Yes. Yeah, they both. I wish they just stopped me again. Okay.
So, right, the two here, so do this one over there. Okay. Oh, who's the third person to go? Okay, so you guys go with me. Awesome.
Hi, thank you. We're going to be presenting on who we believe the right target market is. I'm Stephen Cohen.
I'm Emma Hollowell.
I'm Jennifer Lees.
I'm Isabella Pavlou.
And I'm Colton Venmo. Here's a short video. Fortunately, this isn't how we envision you to use Akeda products. However, many people in our society don't know about them or how to consume crickets. Today we're going to talk about the issue that surrounds crickets and how we're going to overcome that by promotion through health benefits, partnerships, and sustainability. First, we have to address the problems that have to be solved. There is a huge ick factor that surrounds crickets that are to be consumed, and that has to be overcome. Second is brand loyalty. On Aspire's website, they talk about how meat and pork are called meat and pork rather than cows and pigs, because that's not what you want to hear them called. We want our consumers to hear Aketa and think crickets. We also want our consumers to purchase our items not only once, but a second time. We want them to keep coming back, and when they think about any edible insect, they think about Aketa. Lastly, a problem that needs to be overcome is how seriously this is taken as a food source. While looking through some Amazon reviews, although the product isn't currently sold on there, they're still useful. Some people talk about how it's a fun activity to maybe take the oven roasted crickets and dip them in chocolate. However, this is good. We want people to think of it as a more serious food source, as something that could provide you with your essential proteins, amino acids, and energy to get you through the day.
So next, I'm going to be talking about opportunity. So this chart is from 2000 to 2016, and it shows the growth of gym memberships. So in 2000, there's 32.8 million gym memberships, and then in 2016, there was 57.25 million. So we're thinking that this is the perfect opportunity for Aketa to tap into gyms and to put their products and stands, and for people to use them as protein powder or for granola after they work out, because of the great source of protein. And we'll talk about later how we're going to incorporate that into gyms. And also it's a great opportunity because our target is millennials, and out of the 57.25 million gym memberships, more than half of them are millennials. So we thought this was the perfect opportunity. And so, like I said before, our market, we're targeting millennials, and out of the whole population, 83 million people are millennials, and they make up the largest generation, and they're described as confident, self-expressive, and open to change. So we thought these were the perfect people to market to because they're open to try new things, and Aketa is a perfect product for trying new things and recipes, and they're confident when doing so. So they would be perfect for this product.
So some of the competition that we have going into this would be 3 very familiar companies that produce products, not with crickets, but without. So like Bare Naked, Kind, Kashi, they're all very popular brands that carry granola bars, different types of snacks that active millennials like to eat often, especially when working out. And then potential competitors would be, and some which are competitors now, would be Six Foods, which is out of Boston, Massachusetts, and they are actually helped run and manufactured by Big Cricket Farming. And then another one would be Chapul, which is out of Salt Lake City, Utah. And then, like the groups mentioned, EXO, which is also a company that uses cricket powder in their products. Some of the barriers to entry in this situation would be that eating insects is not very normal in America. It's not popular, and especially insects itself. A lot of people can't get past the idea of eating a cricket. And 80% of other countries eat insects as normal every day because it's a part of their culture. Like I said, many are afraid of eating insects, and with our class results, more than half of our class said that no, they would never eat an insect, and then only 10% said yes, and 35% said maybe. So majority rule is no, the majority of the class would not eat a cricket. Another barrier to entry would be the price, because they are a higher priced product than most, but so is Kind, Kashi. They're a little bit more the healthier, the more they're going to cost. One of the ways that we got over this was the Atlantic Hawks selling cricket tacos in their stadium. And they were just tacos with roasted crickets on top, and that's just a small, short way to get into the market and get the name out. And also the Marlins did sell chaplains, which are toasted grasshoppers, which is another way that they're getting the eating insects out into the market.
So now we'll be talking about the value proposition for Akeda. As a team, we decided upon when you consume any form of Akeda, whether it be through the crickets themselves, granola, protein powder, or protein powder, you are consuming lots of protein, more than you will with any other snack. It's a lot healthier of a snack than a bag of chips or pretzels or anything like that, and it is also very environmentally friendly. In terms of a target market, we'll be targeting active millennials. So there will be those who are seen in the gym and out on the tennis court or basketball court, things like that. And according to this chart, you can see that 67% of millennials are persuaded by their choices through their peers. This can be done through mostly social media like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, things like that. So it would be a good idea for Aspire Food Group to get more involved and get a well recognition for it. We came up with 4 ways to promote the brand more, since it is not very well known right now. First, we thought of tasty videos. Instead of eating crickets, I would never want to do that. It might be more appealing to consume them in as croutons on a salad. In terms of the cricket protein powder, it might be more appealing to consume them in a strawberry banana smoothie. And in terms of the granola, in a yogurt parfait. As Jen mentioned earlier, to get more national recognition, we can be involved more with sports, and as like a well-known world sport, cricket could be one. We could set up tables with free samples in Whole Foods, and we can also develop an app or game which can promote as well.
So now into our market strategy. So our overall vision is for these to be conceived in our everyday diet of health conscious and active millennials. So in order to do this, we have positioning strategies that outshine our competitors. So first we have sustainability, and our sustainability is increasing. So in 2005, only 19% of millennials and 90% of the population, cared about sustainability. But now in 2015, 29% of the population cares about sustainability, and it's increasing every year. So protein, this also increases every year. 60% of our population wants protein in their diet, and so this is great that it's increasing. And then for protein, they're also trying to find, increasing that they're trying to find other sources of protein besides meats. There's a lot of plant-based proteins that people are striving to look for because they want to eat smaller portions, and they just want to experiment with protein. And also we can't forget about all the other health benefits that Akeda has, such as amino acids for muscle building, iron and calcium, and supports weight loss. So in order for these tactics to be aware, we must have strategies of promotion, sales, advertising, and partnership. So our first strategy that we're going to use is we're going to set up sampling in Whole Foods, GNC, and Trader Joe's. And so we're going to take back data from the end of the day and see which one promotes the most sales. And then whichever one promoted the most sales, we're going to do sampling in this specific store for once a month. And along with the sampling, we're also going to give out a card showing their health benefits with them and also recipes. And for the powder in particular, we're going to have samples of little smoothies and see how it can taste really good. And on the actual package, we're going to put a little attachment of the health benefits and also it'll be different on every package, a few like little recipes, and this will spark the interest of millennials because it's really creative and like it'll be different on everyone. It could be like a kind of crusted like chicken or anything like salads. And then also we're going to partnership with with the whole workout experience, like fitness programs. That means like ones that focus on working out but also eating right, such as Weight Watchers and Bliss Fitness. And we found a few others that also focus on these as well. And lastly, we're going to place these products in gyms, and this will spark interest for daily gym goers because they're going to see it there and assume that it's good to eat when working out and everything. And so when they see this, they're just automatically going to buy it without having to be informed. And then once they buy it, read the package, and see the pamphlet, they're going to be informed and realize that it actually is really good for them. And this will have them keep coming back for more. And so a little summary of our project is who, why, and how. So we're targeting active and health-conscious millennials. Why we're targeting them? They make up the biggest population of our world, and they have the most gym memberships, and they are the most health-conscious and creative age group. And how we're doing this is through our tactics of promotion, through sampling recipes, having them at the gyms, and partnerships with fitness programs. So with all these, we believe that our product will 100% make it into our market, and that it will no longer be something strange to eat or a taboo. Thank you.
Questions?
Hello?
Hi.
You guys hear me?
Yep.
Hey, sorry, Vince went to go fight a spider. So I had a question with regards to the strategy that you described of going into, the Trader Joe's, the GNCs, and whatnot. So on the one hand, when you guys were kind of extolling the virtues of the product, you spoke about the sustainability aspects as well as the nutritional benefits. In a place like GNC or at a gym where individuals are already bombarded with products that have a lot of nutritional benefits, because that's what they care about. What would you emphasize with regards to the marketing or the presentations of the people giving out samples? Would you focus on the nutritional benefits as compared to the other products, or the sustainability?
I think that we would do, honestly, both of them. We would write sustainability as one in particular, and also the health facts, because one person might be sparked by sustainability, and the other person might be sparked by the health facts. So you get best of both, kind of, right there.
Yeah, to add on to that, when we're in there, we're going to stress how this is a new, sustainable, different idea to what you're used to. So there's not many people in these products in these stores that are selling crickets. So to be the first to get in there and people to come in and see the sustainable aspect of it and how much protein is actually in just 1 ounce of those is hopefully going to grab their attention to be like, oh, I want to try this. And then by giving them samples, they're more likely to make a purchase on the spot.
Cool. A question I had. So you showed the increasing gym membership rates. Were there any specifics for how to target gyms and what would be best creatively for gyms? Something we talked about for next year is getting into CrossFit gyms. And obviously there's a lot of negotiation that goes into that. But let's say we're inside of gyms. What's the best, not only product, but best way to effectively stimulate repeat purchases in these gyms?
All right. For example, when I walk into my gym, I first check in, and then the next thing I see is the vending machines of water and the vending machines of the snacks. And every day I look into there, I'm like, I honestly can picture the 1 ounce packages of Aketa just sitting in here, ready for people to say this is a good source of protein and a quick and easy snack to either purchase before going to the gym or on their way out to replenish their muscles with the protein. Not all gyms have vending machines like that, but to just get into the gyms that do, and to even put a sign maybe behind the desk so they're bound to see it right when they walk in is our best way to target people in gyms.
Cool. Got it. Yeah, I think that's all on my end.
Thank you.
Thank Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So we are close to out of time for this particular, for our class period. So we'll actually let everyone from Aspire go, and thank you so much for showing up today, and we'll be in touch, and I will definitely send you all these presentations with their resources as well. So,
All right, thank you.
thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye. All right, so they're off now. I want to thank everyone for your presentations today. We're wrapping up. If you have not finished your comments, or if you want to tell yourself a nice supportive message, go for it. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. There's going to be peer evaluations that will be sent out. So we don't have to grade it on here. No, absolutely not. No. So I will send out an email with a peer review, and just so you know, I'm just gonna have it where I'm gonna mention, just so you remember what group you are in, just in case. I'm gonna mention what mindless eating chapter you all did. I think that might be a good way to key memory. So just know that's for the final presentation. You'll get an email for those who went today. I'll send it today. For those who are going on Thursday, I'll send it then. So it's going to be the same situation for Thursday. We are little less technology issues is what the goal is. And afterwards, do want you all to stick around, not beyond this the class period. But I'm going to ask you guys to do the class evaluation, and then if you have time, maybe a smaller evaluation, since we don't get the feedback, unfortunately, back until right before next semester. So that's not really helpful if I want to change things and with your input. So if that doesn't work, I'll just email it to you just to get some feedback. Also, we'll have some treats for you guys to celebrate your awesomeness with putting all this together. They may not have some crickets in it. And sorry that there's no other deeper celebration because it's a school and you guys are underage. Yes. We are collecting those. Yes. So please put this up here. Or bring them up, and if you have any other questions, I'm available. Know that the